Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And in this episode, we are, unsurprisingly, given the montage, looking at House of the Dragon, and specifically a piece in Screen Rant which tells us that the budget is coming in at just under $20 million per episode. Sounds like a bargain, doesn't it? Only $20 million an episode. That's for a series. I mean, we're looking at a Hollywood blockbuster kind of budget, but it is more than Game of Thrones. That average, I think, for most of the series was something like 10 million an episode, but the last 8th series was 15 million an episode. Although you wonder how, because it was crap, and one episode was just dark screen. Didn't really need a lot, did you? I suppose it was the cost of all those coffees that they kept leaving on the set. Anyway, we'll go into this article, like I say, some Screen Rant, and we'll take a look and discuss. So here we are. House of the Dragon budget per episode is under $20 million, as I just said. HBO's Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, will cost significantly less per episode than other new blockbuster series due to experience. Yeah, it's costing less than other things that are coming out, but still a lot more than Game of Thrones. But as I say, they're quite good with having done Game of Thrones for all those years, so they'll be able to whiz in and out, get sets built. They know the shooting regimes and things. So yeah, shouldn't be a surprise that they can do it cheaper per episode than other stuff. But it's still a significant uplift in cost over Game of Thrones originally. But anyway, we'll carry on with the article. HBO's Game of Thrones prequel, The House of the Dragon, will have a significantly smaller budget than some of its upcoming blockbuster rivals. While the fantasy epic's final season left many fans of George R. R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series disappointed, expectations for House of the Dragon to evolve into something greater are high. Well, first of all, it tells you something that with 20 million per episode, and they're doing this, and that's a lot less than the rivals. They mean the Rings of Power. That'll be the main rival, and that is billions, and it's going to fail because it's going to be rubbish. Whereas I think House of the Dragon will succeed even with a tiny budget. But I say relatively tiny budget, as I say, because Game of Thrones itself was 10 million an episode. So you wonder where they do put the money. But I suppose every name that goes up at the end, they all need paying, don't they? And also, as a side effect, I was, disappointed was not the term I would use at the end of Game of Thrones. Appalled, devastated, depressed even. It was that bad. But I don't want to go on about it. Moving on. The show will follow the Targaryen family that ruled Westeros for nearly 3 decades, particularly during a period known as the Dance of the Dragons. This was the Civil War. Because the flagship Game of Thrones series concerned events some 200 years after the prequel Civil War, long after the last dragons presumably died out, the mythical creatures rarely reared their heads until the final few seasons. House of the Dragon, on the other hand, revolves around the bloody war that features the beasts and their riders on the front lines. Kind of looking forward to that. Bit of dragon on dragon action. That'd be good. Because of the elaborate CGI, massive Shakespearean set pieces and the star-studded cast, the production design is likely as big, if not bigger, in scale than its predecessor. Well, you want to hope so, because they need to step it up after that. They've got to give the fans something. And I think something spectacular is definitely the way to go. And like I say, I'm coming from the back of Game of Thrones, where I was ultimately really sad, disappointed, and had the entire thing taken away from me. I mean, I can't even go back and watch earlier series now, because it's dead. It burned itself out inside me. But this, House of the Dragon, I am excited for. Because we need to be optimistic, because we've had nothing but bad news for 2 years. So this is good. And also, we kind of know the world we're walking into. So it's going to be like a clean, what's the term? Tabula rasa. It's a clean slate. We can start again. And as long as they don't screw up the ending, which I'm assured they've already planned the ending, so they know exactly how it's going to end. So apparently that's all laid down. They aren't having to make this up on the fly like the Tossers did at the end of Game of Thrones. So I think it's going to be great. I'm very optimistic, and I'm looking forward to it. And I literally can't wait. I'm beside myself with excitement. That's me over there. With that in mind, Variety reports that the per episode cost of House of the Dragons Series 1 is in just under $20 million. The figure is slightly higher than the Game of Thrones Season 8 per episode budget of around $15 million. According to the production insider from HBO that revealed the costs, HBO got away with the surprisingly low sums, $20 million, due to their experience navigating the expansive world-building series like Game of Thrones, Westworld, His Dark Materials. They said that the team can make a high-quality series as efficiently and effectively as possible. Oh, this is it. They've got the experience, and it does help when you've got a crew and the technical stuff all down pat. You know, you can move production along quite quickly. I've seen this in action where you can get how we put it. You can start a production and you're getting maybe one scene a day done, 2 scenes at most, and by the end of it, you're knocking out 4 and 5 scenes a day. Which to people who aren't sort of au fait with the whole production process, if you can get 4 or 5 scenes in a day done, that is exceptional. I mean, I was down at Pinewood doing a thing, and I was there all day doing one corridor scene, because you don't just shoot it once. You do several takes. The director will say, well, instead of doing that, do this. Can we move that person then to there? And they'll shoot it again, shoot it again, shoot it again. Then you have to do the reverse shot. Then you have to do the over the shoulder shot. Then you have to do the sideways shots. You have to do a one shot, you know. And it was literally 9 hours. I mean, they fed us. They have to, you know, the rules. But it was 9 hours, and we got one corridor scene effectively that was on screen for 20 seconds. That's why productions take a long time, you know. And if, like I say, if you're getting to a point where you can get 3 and 4 scenes a day, you can rattle it along. But anyway, yeah. Compared to, all right, we're getting back into the story now. Compared to rival Amazon's roughly $465 million budget for Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power, House of the Dragon's near $200 million total is practically trivial. Even Netflix's Stranger Things Series 4 is rumoured to clock in around $30 million an episode. Wow! But I am looking forward to that as well. I tell you, there is so much good stuff coming. We've literally just finished watching through Stranger Things, and you forget how good it is, and you forget little snippets and things, and there's loads of Easter eggs in it. And I'm now sitting here waiting. We've got, where is it today? 24th. We've got 33 days to go. I'm 33 days from half a series of Stranger Things, and honestly, my little feet are tapping. So excited about that. There's so much good stuff coming. Don't cock it up. Anyway, so where did we get to? Even straight Netflix's Stranger Things Series 4 is rumoured to clock in around $30 million per episode, although that figure is not confirmed, and doesn't appear to feature nearly the same scale of the landscape, set pieces, or wardrobe and costume as the HBO spin-off. On the other hand, Stranger Things' mind-boggling CGI is arguably more widespread and complex than that in House of the Dragons, which could play a considerable role in the higher expense, and the same holds true for the Rings of Power. Speaking of CGI, much like its canonical successor, House of the Dragon may not even feature many Targaryen dragons whatsoever, if promotional materials are any indication. Yeah, apparently it's there's only a few glimpses of them in Series 1. It's Series 2, or Season 2, where sort of the big fights really start happening. If it doesn't, the costs make more sense, but if it does, Variety's production insider could be right on the money regarding HBO's expertise. Their ability to easily create unbelievably sprawling cinematic worlds is probably the relevant factor in keeping expenses on a relatively lower end for such a cornerstone franchise. Yeah, I mean, and it is too. It's going to be the biggest thing that HBO are releasing this year, and probably going to be as big as Game of Thrones, and they'll run that for, I think it's 5 seasons. So it's going to run for the next 5 years. So it's more or less taking you up to the end of the decade. So they've got surefire winner, and then all obviously the merchandise, the spin-off, the marketing, the licensing. So HBO's set to make a lot of money. A lot. Anyway, Perhaps deciding not to feature many dragons yet is part of that efficiency, or they're simply that good at circumventing burgeoning production costs. But the answer will become apparent when House of the Dragon Season 1 premieres this summer. Yeah, come August. I will be there, and I cannot wait. Anyway, I'll come up, we'll round off, and yeah, we're done. Yeah, so I think the money will be spent wisely. I think we'll see it on the screen, because sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't realise where the money goes. But I think if they're not using a lot of CGI, then the money will go on the screen. So it will be the talent, it will be the clothes, it will be the sets, you know, things like that. So I think visually it's going to be rich. I think it's going to be a good, rich visual experience. We know the actors are way capable of giving them giving the characters lives of their own. I think we're going to benefit from the experience and skill of every single person involved. I mean, I'm not just talking about the stars. I mean, we know the stars can act, but I think even sort of the minor characters, they will be good, because I think the directors are fully aware of the downfall at the end of Game of Thrones, and will be so aware of this. The whole production team will be so aware of this. They're going to demand excellence at every stage. So the set design will be great, the set dressing will be great, the wardrobe will be great, hair, makeup, lighting, sound, everything is going to be superb. And like I say, it's something we are looking forward to. I'm so looking forward to it. I wasn't, and now I am. And I think it's something that will bring people together again. I think there will be new phrases. You know, winter is coming has entered the sort of the public consciousness. There's going to be others, you know, and I think that this will kick off a new era for it. And who knows, in sort of 10 years after this show finishes, or 8 years after this show finishes, they could be doing a sequel to Game of Thrones. Let's hope they don't cock that up either. So I think there's a lot of life in it, and I'm just hoping it's as good as I want it to be. And that said, we've got Stranger Things coming too, but I've got another video about them coming up shortly. But for this one, I will round off. I'll thank you for watching so far. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for future notifications. Leave a like, leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.